Thank you, everyone. Today, we're going to be talking about why your exercise program isn't working for you, why you've still got pain, even though you're doing all the right things. So, I'm sure there's a certain percentage of people who absolutely love their exercise program, are getting fantastic results, and are improving their pain situation. The old 80-20 rule. And so I was one of the 80-20 where exercise always helped me with my pain. And then I got to a point where it wasn't working. And I became one of the 20%. And I was so frustrated because I couldn't understand what was going wrong. And it turned out that it was something that I hadn't taken into consideration, even though I'd been trying to treat it myself. Need to have a practitioner looking after you, no matter what and how much you know. So, good lesson learned. We need coaches because we can't see what we can't see. So, one of the biggest issues is sometimes pain happens in an area that is not the one that's actually injured. And I see this often enough to know that it is absolutely true. A lot of people who come to me come into my practice because they've tried everything and nothing's worked. By the way, my name's Vicki Tate. I am a retired registered nurse of over 50 years, and I am also an advanced orthobionomy practitioner of 27 years with loads and loads of experience with people with pain and especially back pain. So what I was saying is that I have clients who come to me with pain and it looks like it's a certain thing, and then when we start to investigate, that's not where it's coming from. For best example, and the most severe example I had, was a young woman. She got injured at work and she kept saying that she hurt her shoulder, but she had neck and lower back problems. And her pain in her neck and lower back was stopping her from sleeping and working and doing just a full range of things. But she also couldn't lift her arms up above her head. She couldn't cook a meal. She couldn't do the washing. She couldn't do anything that required her arms for more than a few minutes. And she was completely dismissed by the physiotherapists, the legal people, the medical people. She came to me one day and when I was working with her, looking at her neck and back, I thought, wow, this shoulder blade's really stuck. Started trying to see what was happening with the shoulder blade, and I said, you need to get this investigated. Go and see your physio and see if you can get an ultrasound to find out what's happening with this shoulder blade. Guess what? She had 4 torn muscles around her shoulder blade, and no one had picked it up because the pain was being referred above and below the injury. And that could be you. It could be many, many people. I see it with plantar fasciitis. It's not always the plantar that's the problem. It's somewhere else. And so that can be a really big issue. And unless you have a practitioner who's willing to look beyond the site of injury, to look where it's coming from, what might be causing it outside of that area, then you might be stuck in that loop of treatment where you're not getting very far. You're doing all the right things and your injury continues to be pretty much the same. I've got some notes because I do tend to ramble. Keeps me on track. The other thing is strength work does help a lot of people who have pain. It helps the muscles around the pain area to become stronger. It helps retrain the neuromuscular system to be more comfortable. But there's one caveat. If there's trauma in that area, sometimes when we start to put a little bit of stress on the area, it actually goes into a fight, flight and freeze mode and will sometimes cause more pain than it had before. And so understanding this principle is really important when you're working with someone, especially someone with chronic pain, who's had some sort of injury, and it could be that it's been a motor vehicle accident and there's been, lots of different things got hit and banged and put out of place during that motor vehicle accident, or a fall. And so we need to understand that it's not just the muscular system and the skeletal system that causes pain. The neuromuscular system also causes pain. And so being able to trace it back to the nervous system, learning how to settle down the nervous system, how to start managing that, and teaching the nervous system that it's safe again. How do you do that, I hear you say? Well, it's not that difficult. We need to train the nervous system towards comfort, because at the moment it's got all the alarm systems going, looking for something that's painful, hurtful, so more change in temperature, pressure, movement, or any of those things, and it will start sending out alarm systems. There's something going to happen, so we're going to get prepared for pain. So we need to start to settle that nervous system down, teach it that it's safe, teach us that we understand what's going on and we're paying attention, and it will start to trust us again. So yes, that nervous system regulation, absolutely crucial. Without nervous system regulation, you are waving a red flag to a bull. There's been lots of studies done about this, and one of them, I'm just trying to find my notes here, didn't come out in the printout, unfortunately. So apparently chronic pain is more prevalent now than diabetes and heart disease. It's like, wow, that's pretty scary, because we know both of those are on a magnificent rise. So chronic pain is someone who's been in pain for 3 months or more. I noticed that if someone's been in pain for 6 weeks or more, their nervous system is already starting to get pretty excited about it and very, very cautious and very protective. So once you get to 3 months, yeah, the nervous system's really well trained to try and protect you. That's why it's doing. It's trying to protect you from any more injuries. So we need to thank it. We need to be grateful and find out how we can support it. So one of the big problems that I see coming out of physiotherapists, chiropractors, and even some osteopaths and massage therapists and bone therapists, it's a one-size-fits-all. So you go in, you've got this particular shoulder problem, this is your program. You've got this particular knee problem, this is your program. You've got this particular back problem, this is your program. And it doesn't fit everybody. Sometimes we have to change things about and be a little bit more creative with the way we help people get better, because that's our job. We've got the skill, we've got the know-how. As practitioners, it's our job to start to become the problem solvers, to become the investigators, to become the shining light, to show what the pathway is out of this terrible situation that someone's in. Another issue that we tend to sort of slip underneath the carpet, and that is that we forget that our emotions affect our pain. So I just want you to think for a moment, for a time when you've been in pain. You might have just kicked your toe or smashed your finger in a door, just something simple. And when you're worried, when you're upset, or when you're angry, the pain is much worse. When you are having a good time, when you've got people visiting and you're laughing and there's lots of good times happening, pain seems to diminish until those people go away, and then the pain will come back again. And so our psychological state will affect our physiological state most definitely. And so being able to manage our psychological state is really important, and also understanding that if a migraine comes on, it's like, oh, so what was going on in my emotional state before that? Was I confused? Was I worried? Was I angry? Was I dehydrated? It might be something as simple as dehydration. But we need to also consider the emotional state, because the psychological state is definitely going to have a huge effect on the nervous system, on our levels of adrenaline and cortisol, which also increase our pain levels, and also our insulin resistance, which will also increase our pain levels. So all of those things need to be taken into consideration when we're dealing with a pain issue that's been going on for some time. because our body is a very finely tuned implement, and if there's something out of balance somewhere, it will definitely alert us to that. So the key takeaways for today, it's a nice quick one. The key takeaways today are that stretching and using foam rollers and doing strength work is going to work for a certain part of the population, but if that's not you, then you need to be a little bit more creative about how you approach your pain management. Definitely learn how to manage your nervous system so that you can control that overactive, overexcitable, overprotective nervous system and bring it down to a base level that is manageable. Secondly, start to understand the other factors that are involved. Might be emotional, it might be, actually what we didn't talk about was inflammation, because inflammation can be a really big contributing factor to pain, and I've just experienced that recently with my bursitis and tendinopathy in my right hip as a result of a long-term ankle injury. And so dealing with inflammation however your body needs to. You know, some people find a water fast works, some people find going vegan works, some people find going carnivore works, some people find increasing their omega-3s work. You need to find the system that works for you and be prepared to be consistent for some length of time to see if you can get those results. So make sure that you have got a practitioner who is willing to look outside the box to find out whether that pain is referred and coming from a different area that might seem totally unrelated. Check out your inflammatory processes. You can get blood tests for them as well. Also look at your psychological issues, and I'm sure there was one more, the neuromuscular controls. So looking at how all of the muscles around that particular area are working together to try and manage the situation, because sometimes the neuromuscular is what's setting off the alarm bells. So today I have got a PDF file for you and a little checkbox on back pain. So if you would like to know a little bit more about your back pain and be able to sort of maybe classify it, then this PDF file might be just for you. So just write down in the comments PDF and I will send that to you, or checklist, whichever one's easier for you. And also for those people who have back pain, next week I will be running a Better Back workshop for 5 days. It's completely free. It's 30 to 45 minutes a day, and we will be working through a lot of these issues that I spoke about today, about learning how to manage your nervous system, how to regulate your neuromuscular system, and how to start to bring postural alignment into play so that your body can feel safe again. And so I hope this has been helpful. I'd really love to see your comments below. This is Vicki Tate signing out for today with reasons why your program isn't working even though you're doing all the right things. All right, have a great day.